The president to meet with firefighters and first responders and, of course, the families who've been impacted by these wildfires.
I cannot impress upon all the folks here how grateful I am. There's no politics being played here. We're going to get it done.
Florida is expected to finish up a hand recount to decide the contested Senate race between Rick Scott and Bill Nelson.
The search
is in the future, but seeing is understanding. It's just like bipartisan congressional delegations that go to Iraq or Afghanistan.
Right.
It's like going there, walking in your boots, seeing what the troops are doing can really change your view or give you a more holistic understanding. Yeah. I think it's really important the president flew out there for the day, saw it, walked it. That's going to color his response to it.
But my point also is that other politicians might have kind of danced around it. He just said, come on, we've had disagreements. Come here, shake my hand. Let's do this.
And that was a beautiful moment for him where he actually said, you know, we in New York City and we in D.C. can look at this. You can read about a story like this, but until you're actually here and you see the devastation, you really don't know. And I think that's something that all of us can remember because this tragedy is happening right now, but there are tragedies that happen throughout the country. And this was his chance to walk in people's shoes, really open his eyes, see it. And that's an important message for all of us to hear, not just for this tragedy, but for future ones.
Yeah, we represent all Americans. A lot of Californians don't like him. Doesn't matter. You're still Americans.
President trying to bring people together. You're right. Unity. Some Democrats struggling with that word this morning, particularly Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. As Democrats come to power in the House, remember she started last week with a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office, a sign perhaps that some of the socialists coming into Congress are not going to be happy with their leaders, are going to be pressing them. And now I think Ocasio-Cortez is taking it to a new level this morning by suggesting she wants Democrats to run against Democrats in primaries and go further to the left.
That's exactly right. There's a group called Justice Democrats. They want grassroots Democrats to challenge and leftists to challenge incumbent Democrats, especially in safe Democratic seats. And she said, you helped me get elected. I want to help more people basically beat my colleagues now in the Democratic caucus. Listen to Ed's favorite socialist.
Long story short, I need you to run for office. Progressive movement works, and it wins in all districts. If we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, we can't start working in 2020. I cannot tell you enough how much this moment is asking of our country and ourselves to have political courage, to vote in ways that we haven't voted before.
So they want to get rid of old line Democrats and replace them with folks who want to abolish ICE, Medicare for all, socialism. And they said they want to prioritize women and diversity. So they're playing straight into the identity politics all the way.
She's taken Bernie Sanders to new levels, man. It's a whole new level. I give her credit, though. I think she is very passionate about these issues. I think it is an honest commitment she has. And I think the Democratic Party has a really hard time right now because they have that core wing, that really hard left in there that isn't going to settle for what mainstream Democrats want to do. And we've seen that in the Republican Party, right? We've seen splits where you have the establishment Republicans and then you have people that are more hard right. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Democrats handle, because she's a force. I'm telling you, she is not going anywhere. She is not backing down, and she is going to hold all of them accountable and try to get rid of all those moderate Democrats as much as she can so that her hardcore left agenda can get pushed through.
Right, and let's say something in defense of President Trump as well. He gets attacked all the time for having these rallies. The MAGA rallies continue past the election. What's he doing? He's focused on politics. You got Ocasio-Cortez already talking about 2020. You have, Gillibrand and Spartacus and everyone else talking about 2020. You just won the House. How about focus on governing for a minute instead of talking about primary challenges 2 years from now?
It's a great point, but she's a perfect millennial. She's totally open about it, and she's, her views are about this shallow, as we've learned from interviews, but she's very passionate about them.
She is very passionate.
She'll share them with anybody at any time on video, so we can play it on the show. She will be a force, though.
She will be a force.
But it's about politics. They want to change. They want to move the Democratic Party further left, which I think is a preview of 2020.
Right into the president's hands.
You're right.
They take the House. All the Democrats fight over each other in the policies, and then they want to raise taxes. They want to investigate.
County. What will happen and what does matter is that at 12 noon today, Broward and the other 67 Florida counties will submit official numbers which will show that Governor Scott has defeated Senator Nelson in this race. Nevertheless, the much-aligned election supervisor here, Brenda Snipes, is still looking for 2,000 missing ballots. Listen.
Somebody must have put their stack in a tray where it didn't belong. The ballots are in this building. There would be nowhere else for them to be.
A question that remains now is, will we see Nelson concede once these numbers come in today, or will he wait until Tuesday, which is the certification for these races? Speaking of concessions, we did see a concession from Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee, conceding to Ron DeSantis yesterday with his wife in a Facebook video. Take a look.
We said that we will fight until the last vote is counted. Now that we are rounding that process out, RJ and I wanted to take a moment to congratulate Mr. DeSantis on becoming the next governor of the great state of Florida.
So what will Governor-elect DeSantis' first moves be? Well, he was asked whether he might try and clean things up and fire Brenda Snipes here in Broward County. Here was his answer. Listen.
Well, I'm going to take office on January 8th, and, I ran on accountability, and so I urge all your voters to follow my administration closely when I get in.
Finally, the drama's not over. The board here, the canvassing board, will meet at 10 a.m. to give them plenty of time to submit these numbers by the 12 o'clock noon deadline. We expect lawyers, particularly those representing Senator Nelson, to maybe do a last stance challenge. We'll see what that brings, guys. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Griff.
Thanks, Griff.
Let me just say a word in defense of Brenda Snipes. I know it's unpopular, but
oh, boy.
It is very unpopular.
I got to get back to D.C. today, and I swear, I lost my car keys. They're in the building. I know they're in the building somewhere. I lost them. I mean, this is crazy. There's 2,000 ballots. I lost them after all this scrutiny. But I know they're in the building somewhere.
Yeah, but look what she's gotten, that she does that because look what she's gotten away with. I mean, this is a woman who's been rebuked by the court, who destroyed ballots. I don't know what else you have to do at this point, actually, to not be allowed to work with ballots. This is not the job for you,
They got
Brenda.
mixed in with another stack. They're somewhere in the building.
Somewhere.
No, I got a nickname for her. Sloppy Brenda Snipes.
Uh-oh.
When you
Trump might steal that one, Pete.
Sloppy. You don't get to do sloppy work when you're an elections official.
No. Right.
You don't get to do rounding errors and, I lost 1,000 or 2,000. If you're sloppy with your work, you lose ballots and you lose votes. You better be precise when you're an election
And you
official.
should lose your job.
How dare her? Every single one of those votes that's lost is some individual that went to the ballot thinking their voice mattered. It's ridiculous.
It started with the Republicans saying this is all about corruption, and then others said maybe it's incompetence. Maybe it is incompetence, because if it was corruption, you would think she would have rigged both races. But the governor's race has now gone Republican.
Then she told us racism might be part of the factor, the reason people coming after her.
But even if
no. You're bad at your job. That's all that it has to do
The
with.
thing is, though, whatever the reason may be, even if you give her the benefit of the doubt and say it's gross incompetence, how can you have someone who's this incompetent working with people's votes? This is the most important thing in the whole country, arguably.
By the way, Andrew Gillum, well done on your concession speech. No, really, seriously. Stacey Abrams and Bill Nelson should take a note. Yeah. He did a nice job.
Yeah.
Here we go. President Trump backing up Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House.
I would help Nancy Pelosi if she needs some votes. I like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's tough and she's Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's tough and she's smart, but she deserves to be Speaker. And now they're playing games with her. There's nobody else should be Speaker. If she needs any votes, if she asks me, I will give her the votes to put her over the top.
President Trump looking like he's going to bat for Nancy Pelosi, even offering to back her as the next House Speaker. And Pelosi is not the only Democrat getting some kind words from the president. He also tweeted out congrats to the failed Democratic gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum in Florida, calling him a quote-unquote force to reckon with. So just how far is the president willing to go to work with Democrats? Here to weigh in, CBN's chief political correspondent, David Brody. Good morning, David.
Hey, Ed, good to see you.
So on the surface, it seems like, okay, maybe the president is reaching out. On the other hand, we know oftentimes in his tweets he's not reaching out. He's going after his opponents. So is this, fake praise, or is this a president who really genuinely wants to reach across the aisle to Democrats, do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't think there's any sort of kumbaya experience that we're about to see here in Washington at all. Look, I think this is Donald Trump morphing from commander-in-chief to TV analyst, basically, like with Andrew Gillum, for example, terrific in the future. I mean, this is kind of the way he sees it. Like if he was on Fox and Friends sitting on the couch, he would say, this is his view of that. And then as for Nancy Pelosi, look, I do think he thinks that she's a fighter. He's a fighter. There are folks coming against Nancy Pelosi. There are a lot of folks coming against Donald Trump. I think there's somewhat of a symbiotic experience there. And so I think he can relate to a certain degree.
He can relate, but isn't it also about Trump, the master political strategist, because he sees the fact that Nancy Pelosi should be strong right now after the Democrats took back the House, but she actually looks kind of weak because it's not clear she has the votes Democratic votes to become Speaker of the House. So by the president saying, hey, I'll get some Republican votes, we'll deliver for you, doesn't that suggest maybe that she'd be beholden to Republicans? And that also exposes what Democrats are worried about, rank-and-file Democrats, that the president desperately wants her to be Speaker because she's unpopular.
Well, absolutely, Ed. First of all, she'd be a great foil in 2020. There's no doubt about it. And also, look, she needs 218, right, in January to become Speaker. And here comes Donald Trump saying, hey, Nancy, I got your 218 right here, as he would say in New York. Except the thing is that if you're 3 or 4 votes short, get ready. I've got a few that I can give you. Not that it's really ever going to come to that, Ed, but here's the thing. When he does that, that's also code for, hey, if I'm going to give you 3 or 4 votes to put you over the top, you need to give me something.
So
too.
when we get beyond the tweets and all of that, you know better than anyone, the president didn't have much of a relationship with the Republican Speaker, Paul Ryan, who's retiring anyway. Ryan didn't really campaign much for him in 2016. They didn't forge a good bond. Could this president, you mentioned New York, he's somebody who, as a New Yorker, is not really tied down to ideology as a conservative and may actually reach across the aisle. Could you see him, despite some of the battles back and forth, cutting deals with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer?
Well, in a perfect scenario, yes. Perfect world, yes. Here's the problem. The Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome. They are not going to give him any sort of victory. I mean, let's think about it, Ed. And you know, you've been around a long time here. I mean, in a good way, by the way, Ed. I just want to say. But look, do you really think Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer and Chuck Schumer want a Rose Garden ceremony in an election year with Donald Trump on really any sort of issue? Criminal justice reform, I think they can get there. Infrastructure, I'm not buying that at all. And as for health care, forget about it. Look, we're going to a presidential year. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, so last question. Many in the mainstream media might want to put all of this on the president and say, you know, can he get this stuff done? But Democrats have a responsibility to govern now, that they have some power and they're taking over the House. So to your last point, will Democrats, do you think, be able to get past the resist that we've heard for the last 2 years and actually try to work with this president? For example, they want a DACA fix. What about money for the wall?
Right. So the answer is, let me think for a second. No, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. You can mail it in now. I will say this. To your point about immigration, look, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, ready to codify DACA into law. They don't want to do it at all. Why? They don't want to give money for the wall. So look, they have made their voices clearer. And I will just say this. You better watch out with Donald Trump. He'll praise you one day. Ask Little Rocket Man. First he's terrific, or he's Little Rocket Man, then he's terrific. Lindsey Graham is now West Wing BFFs, and before that his cell phone had a problem.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. He could turn on you quick. And as I mentioned, master political strategist, something Democrats know full well. David Brody, appreciate you coming in to break it down.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Talk about a political powerhouse. How the Obamas are becoming big money folks out on the circuit. That's coming up.
Republican Brian Kemp as their governor. Kemp finished with more than 50% of votes, topping Democrat Stacey Abrams. Abrams acknowledged her defeat on Friday while not conceding and filing a lawsuit against the state. And in a second story, it's a sweep for Democrats in California. Gil Cisneros wins the state's 39th congressional district seat. His win is the 4th and final in Orange County, giving Democrats complete control over the once conservative stronghold. He defeated Republican Young Kim by a slim margin. Ed?
Big happenings. Are you already dreading having to talk a little politics at the Thanksgiving table? The ladies of The View offered some wisdom, as they always do, but some mixed messaging about when it's okay to talk politics.
One topic that was really kind of blatantly avoided was overt politics. I think it was a welcome break.
I believe that everybody should be involved in politics right now. I really do. I don't believe that you get a pass just because you're a performer.
Whoopi saying the break in politics should last just over the holidays to, quote, enjoy their families and make life good.
Here to win, host of the Michael Knowles Show, Michael Knowles. Michael, help us here. We've got a Thanksgiving table to be at soon. We've got a Christmas table to be at soon, or anything in between. Politics or no politics?
I didn't think it was possible, but Whoopi Goldberg is 100% correct. She has nailed it. This is true. Joy Behar is exposing one of the worst aspects of second-wave feminism and the left broadly, which is that the personal is the political. There's this erosion of the difference between the private and the public. There was a McLaughlin and Associates poll. It showed that 75% of Americans hate the politicization of entertainment. We don't like speaking about it all the time. We don't like speaking about it over the dinner table. The left, however, always brings this up over the holidays. The Obama administration a few years ago insisted, they sent out a campaign material that said that you should speak about Obamacare with your uncle at the dinner table. This is because holidays are holy days. Conservatives broadly would rather use those holy days to honor God, give thanks for their family. But for the left, their God is politics, and they honor him at every single holiday table.
Michael, I want to ask you something about what Tim Allen recently said to IndieWire. He said, and I quote, "I think it's funny to make fun of people that are full of themselves. Liberals have a very small window of sense of humor about themselves, so I love poking at it." What do you think about that? I've often found that liberals, because they view politics as their entire being, they do have a hard time kind of laughing at themselves. Have you found that to be true?
Well, you know, it would be my favorite hobby to poke fun at liberals. I wrote a best-selling book about this very topic. So Tim Allen is absolutely right. And oh, thank you very much. You're clearly a scholar. But what Tim Allen shows is that there's a difference between a character and a person. You know, he said now it's so much fun to make fun of liberals. This wasn't always the case. Now it is. And so, you know, he uses politics to advance the plot of his show. But I think sometimes when it comes to the left, they're using their shows to advance their politics. So this reminds me of Murphy Brown taking shots at Dan Quayle, for instance, in the 1990s. And what is the left doing? They're rebooting that exact show. They seem not to have learned that lesson. But it's very, very tedious when they do that.
That's a great point. Using a show to advance politics as opposed to using politics to advance your show. There's no one else out there poking fun at liberals or promoting sort of center-right views, so Fox picks up Tim Allen. He does so, and it rates pretty darn well.
That's exactly right. There's a demand in the market because the entire culture is left-wing, especially the entertainment culture in Hollywood and New York. So when you get that one conservative character, it's a lot of fun. I imagine if the situation were reversed, then the left could have a good time poking fun at conservatives. But right now, the left cannot take itself lightly. It insists that everything is a crisis. Democracy is falling apart. We're living in the freest, most prosperous, most just time in the history of the world. And so when Joy Behar says that democracy is at stake, it's hard to take her seriously. She's being funny, but unintentionally so.
Some Trump derangement. That's what it is. Trump. Got to get him out of there.
All right.
That's right.
Thanks,
Michael
Michael.
knows. Remember, he's got a book that could be a good stocking
It's a page turner. You know, Reasons to Vote for Democrats.
Thanks for coming in, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
His bitter confirmation battle polarized the nation. Now Justice Brett Kavanaugh has found a new home on the High Court.
The 9 of us are now a family. This is our work family, and it's just as important as our personal family.
Justice Sotomayor opens up next.
Plus, it's all the rage for millennials this Thanksgiving. I guess they call them tiny turkeys.
Aww.
We're not going with that.
What in the world?
I like a tiny turkey.
No, what?
I
want
do.
The biggest, juiciest
turkey for one.
Turkey ever. We'll bring it to you.
Own obligations to others, but this is our work family, and it's just as important as our personal family. We probably spend more time with each other than most justices spend who have spouses with their spouses.
Good for her. I mean, good for her for being an adult and saying, listen, you know, this is what you do. Somebody gets through, they're nominated, you accept them, and you work together. And it's so interesting because, you know, people around the country are always watching these political battles when, you know, right before somebody gets nominated or right before somebody's about to get elected, the other side comes out like wildfire trying to destroy them. And then all of a sudden, you know, they get elected and everyone kind of on the side says, you know what, they're here, the voters put them in, or they got nominated. So it's not as crazy, and it's really interesting. I wonder how all like the liberal commentators that were so anti-Kavanaugh are thinking now when they see someone that they like, Sotomayor, that they approve of, now saying, listen, enough is enough, now let's get to work.
I thought of the images of the resistors who were climbing the statues outside the Supreme Court when he was getting confirmed. And the rage and all the rest, and yet inside the court, you have a liberal like Justice Sotomayor who has a clear head and is saying, you know what, I'm going to work with this man.
Yep.
I might not agree with him on a lot of issues, but I'm going to be civil to him.
That's a validation.
And that's incredible.
You're exactly right. It's a validation of the willingness to fight through the muck. There was so much muck and so many people saying your life will be ruined, you'll never be legit, you'll never be valid. You know, it's a lesson for all of us. Like, push through that moment when the criticism is the worst, because on the other side, it may be worth it.
And I think
she was. I
think she was also sending a message to the people who do like her, who do support her, who have not yet accepted this nomination, to say, you know what, I've accepted it. I'm ready to get to work. You should accept it too. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Subtle but important.
It's also a pretty elite club. There's only 9 of them.
That's true. It's a pretty cool club.
So they better be friends, or at some level.
Exactly. We are turning now to your headlines. A hot air balloon packed with fireworks explodes in midair over thousands of people.
Get out!
Wow. People frantically ran for cover at the annual Festival of Lights event in Southeast Asia. At least 9 people were hurt. While surveying the damage of California wildfires, President Trump stopped to visit families of victims from the Thousand Oaks mass shooting.
We just hugged them and we kissed them and everybody, and it was very warm.
The president offering his support after a gunman stormed a country music bar earlier this month, killing 12 people. The Obamas are working their way to billionaire status. The former first couple is now worth $135 million, according to the New York Post. Michelle Obama expected to rake in millions from appearances for her upcoming book tour. Tickets cost as much as $4,000 apiece. Wow. And millennials are embracing tiny turkeys this Thanksgiving, which I like, by the way. According to Bloomberg, the younger generation is opting for smaller turkeys. The reason for the switch is due to smaller family sizes and interest in more natural bird. Listen, I'm with them. Pete is not.
No, hold on. You're missing one big part of it. Leftovers.
That's true.
If you don't have a big turkey, you don't have days and days and days.
See, Pete is always thinking ahead. He's thinking around the bend.
You get your little tiny turkey, and then it's gone. And then what do you do tomorrow? Pasta? No. Turkey, all the way to Christmas.
I want to hear what you guys think. Are you down for a tiny turkey like me, or are you with Pete? I have a feeling you're going to win this one, Pete.
A little bit. I also came up with a new, PETA sent me that thing yesterday. Yeah. I'd like their name should be People for the Edible Treatment of Animals.
Aw, man.
That, to me, sounds a lot
this is why I didn't tell you about my adopt a turkey plan with Farm Sanctuary.
Yeah. So what do you think? Friends at FoxNews.com. Will you embrace the tiny turkey, yes or no?
Yeah,
the tiny,
do it.
I don't know that I've ever seen a tiny turkey. I see the little...
well, you can just get the turkey breast.
The chicken, what are they called? The rotisserie
rotisserie chicken.
These are really good. I've never seen a tiny turkey. Didn't know they exist. Did you? Email us.
All right, the mainstream media going into a bit of a frenzy over the CIA's findings in Jamal Khashoggi's death. Our next guest, he actually served in the Army Special Forces and says the media has the real story all wrong.
Interesting. Plus, one police chief getting attention for making his community a sanctuary city, but not for illegal immigrants.
And House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte, Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy and his wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, former Secretary of Education Bill Bennett and Maria Bartiromo, they are all here coming up live.
Hey, I'm country.
And conducted counterterrorism operation. Jim, thanks for being here. So the conventional wisdom, all the media coverage has said that the Crown Prince is responsible for the killing of this Washington Post columnist. You say they're getting ahead of themselves.
And the CIA has said no such thing. You know, all the spin that's going on this is led by the Washington Post, who this guy wrote for, and what seems like a crusade by them to take down the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The CIA has only concluded that in a country like Saudi Arabia, it's highly unlikely that this happened without his approval. But they have absolutely no evidence suggesting he was directly involved in any way. And that's a problem, because President Trump has to make decisions based on U.S. strategic interests with this vital ally. And you don't do that based on an opinion that this is probably what happened.
You know, the State Department actually released a statement that says, quote, the United States government is determined to hold all those responsible for the killing of Jamal Khashoggi accountable. Recent reports indicating that the U.S. government has made a final conclusion are inaccurate. There remain numerous unanswered questions. The State Department will continue to seek all relevant facts. What do you make of the statement? And also, when people talk about the Saudi Arabia being a vital ally, many people become uncomfortable and feel that President Trump should be being tougher on Saudi Arabia. What's your reaction to that? How should he be handling it? Is he handling all this properly?
Well, the State Department is saying the correct thing. This is not a final report. And these leaks of classified information that the Washington Post and others are relying on are not something that should be the final say. So let's wait to see what it says. And Saudi Arabia has identified those responsible. They are going ahead and punishing them and holding them accountable, which is proper for a sovereign nation. So as all that happens, if they do the right thing and there is no direct proof of the Crown Prince's involvement, then we should accept that and go on with the fact that they provide vital assistance for us in the war against terror. They are a vital ally against Iran, who is the major problem in the region, and throwing away that important relationship, as important as, you know, the death of a person is, it is not a U.S. strategic interest, and we have to make our decisions based on those.
Jim, I mean, I take your point, but count me as well as sort of skeptical of how much we really do receive from the Saudi Arabian relationship. At the same time, though, the Crown Prince has taken a different stance. Why are they going after? Are they targeting him? And is he trying to change the way Saudi Arabia operates?
He has made more substantive changes to Saudi Arabia than have happened in the rest of my adult lifetime. You know, he's allowed women to drive. He has stopped funding to extremists. And right now, they are helping with the Israeli-Palestine peace process and our efforts against Iran, who are, like I said, is the major problem in the region. So nobody's saying that they are a perfect country. They're far from it. But they're moving in the right direction. So you don't want to take something like this, which is, like we said, it was a bad thing, but it does not take them off track in moving the right direction and in being helpful to us in a number of ways.
What do you think the media motivation here is in terms of the distortion of this headline, as you've described before, in terms of what actually happened versus how they portrayed that it happened?
I think there are two things going on. Number one, there is an anti-Saudi bias. They want to go ahead and stop the war in Yemen, which would be a major victory for Iran and give them a chance to disrupt oil shipments from the Gulf. But they're using this as a stalking horse for their efforts against the Saudis and against Trump, because President Trump, his first trip was to Riyadh. He made a major push to have Saudi Arabia be one of our new allies in the region. And now the media has decided that they're going to disrupt those two things and use this to do it.
Jim Hansen, I've known you for a long time. You're never afraid of being a contrarian. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Thanks,
Jim. Good to have you on this morning.
Early, we've got a list of products that you should buy this month to save some time and a little bit of money.
Here with details, lifestyle expert Bahar Taktashian.
Hi, guys.
So excited that you're here. These look amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I worked with some great brands to get these deals, and you're going to freak out when you see the prices.
Oh.
Lots of good categories. First one is winter apparel. So these are Cynthia Vincent cashmere sweaters, 100% cashmere. On bluefly.com, they are 75% off from now until tomorrow. They're simple, chic. Again,
75%?
75% off, 100% cashmere.
Right.
And they come in a variety of styles, V-neck, crew neck, you name it. Puffer jackets. Okay, so for him and her, these are from JCPenney.
That silver one looks like you, Ed.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
These are for him or her, just $19.99 at JCPenney during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can get one for everybody in the entire family. JCPenney is your one-stop holiday shop. So that's winter apparel.
Okay.
Moving on to big appliances. I'm obsessed with Dyson vacuums. They tend to be a little bit pricey. Right now, this one is the Dyson Ball Animal 2 Bagless Upright Vacuum, $200 off. So typically it's $4.99. Right now it's $2.99. It is the best vacuum.
Why are you obsessed?
Because it makes vacuuming so much fun.
Their commercials are really
so
cool
easily.
looking.
And they're slick and they're fantastic. This is available at Lowe's.
Cool. All right.
For $200 off.
I'll be at Lowe's.
Moving on to toys. Of course, you have toys coming up for the holiday season. Burlington Holiday Headquarters, they offer 65% off of other retailers' prices every day. They have more toys now than ever before. So some of the standouts this year are the PJ Mask set, $11.99. Hatchimals, which are so hot, $12.99. And the Batman DC action figure is just $6.99. So again, great deals from Burlington.
15 Batmans in my house.
These beauty boxes are amazing because you can get like a whole smattering of things.
Exactly. This one is from a company called BoxyCharm. It's an online beauty subscription program. And so this is called the Best of Boxy. So in this box, you're getting $465 worth of full-priced skincare and beauty products for just $99. So brands include Tarte, Kat Von D, It Cosmetics, Cover Effects,
some of my
you
favorites.
name it. 18 products in total, just $99 from November 20th through Cyber Monday. They also have 2 other boxes at lower price points as well, but you get a little bit of everything.
And there
in
are
these
brushes in here and everything.
There's
wow.
seriously everything, and it's full size, which is incredible.
Now let's get to liquids and food.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a new espresso machine here at the office, and it's awesome.
Really? I wonder if
when you can figure out how to work.
We can't quite figure it out, but you pop this
one looks
back.
simple enough, though.
Something like this, and these things are so fresh. These little espresso
pods.
Yes.
So this is from Espressotoria. This is great for espresso lovers. Great deal here, 50% off on the Caprista machine. This one on Amazon.com from November 24th through the 17th, or $30 off of Walmart.com from now until December 31st on the Barista 2.0. So you don't have to spend money at the coffee place.
Like that.
Do it at home. And
Pete told us a minute
finally,
ago he's already buying a waffle.
No,
He wants to get this.
actually.
Yeah, I need one too.
Hotels always have waffle makers.
Yeah.
My kids always like them. I don't have one at home. Why don't I?
Yeah.
When you see the price on this, you're going to get one. This is again from JCPenney. Their annual Black Friday sale starts at
Kids
2
love 'em.
p.m. on Thanksgiving. So this Cook's rotating waffle maker is exclusive to JCPenney.
Flip it.
Oh, wow.
It was $19.99, or sorry, it was $40. Now it's just $19.99 for the Black Friday sale. And then this air fryer. Have you guys used an air fryer before?
No. Air fryer?
Yeah, so it's like a very healthy way to make French fries or cook, cauliflower without frying it. It gives it a crispy effect. This is also from Cook's, which is exclusive to JCPenney. It's a 1.2 quart fryer. Get this price. So after a $20 mail-in rebate, it is just $4.99.
Where can folks learn more?
Yeah, very good.
$4.99. Where can folks learn more?
You can go to my website, bahartak.com.
All right.
I love it.
You had me at healthy French fries. You had me at that.
Yes, they're crispy and good.
All right. Thanks, Barbara.
These are amazing.
Thank you.
Tension